Hey, good day. It's Corey Jones from Safety Man Consulting, safetyman.co. Please like, follow, listen, share, and comment on these videos and podcasts. It's the only way I can tell that my messages are getting out there and that people are responding well to them. Also, smash that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your content. My goal is to keep you safe. I've done podcasts in the past, especially for youth, on how to survive an encounter when you're contacted by law enforcement. And I think it's time to update it and do it again. So there's a couple missions that I want to do. I want to teach you, give you some coaching lessons on how to get through that encounter. I know it's going to be stressful. I was a police officer for 27 years. I know it's stressful. I want you to survive that encounter with your life and your dignity. Okay. 99% of police officers are good to go. There's those few that are probably not supposed to be on the job. I'm not proud of. And my goal is to either educate them to make them better or get them off the job. But let's get back to how we're going to keep you safe if you are encountered by a police officer, whether you're walking down the street, in a store, in a car, or any other location. Number one, stop. Stop all movement. Don't just show your hands. Don't take your hands out of your pockets. Don't turn around. Don't say anything. Don't do anything. Don't walk. Don't run. Don't lay down. Don't do anything. Stop. Remember the old fire thing they used to teach us in school? Stop, drop, and roll. We're just going to stop. And then we're going to listen to the police officer's instructions. The sooner you show compliance, the lower the police officer's reaction is going to be. He or she is going to be less stressed, less worried about you assaulting him or her or running. The sooner you comply, the better your chances of getting through this unscathed with your life, with your dignity, and having actually a positive experience, especially if you're not doing anything wrong. Even if you are, we're going to talk about that too. But let's just start with if you're not doing anything wrong. Okay, so here's a couple of tips. First thing we want to do is stop. Even before that, we want to make sure we're hanging around and doing things and traveling with people who aren't up to no good. If you have friends who have warrants, who have illegal substances, who are up to no good, who are looking to commit a crime, or who just like to mess with people and run from the police for no reason, that's going to cause you trouble. So choose your friends wisely. I said this in a different podcast when I'm talking about young ladies going out to bars. Choose your friends that have the same morals, ethics, and values as you do. Not only will that be easier for you, it'll be less peer pressure, and I guarantee you it'll make your parents happier if that's important to you. It was important to me. It's important to my kids. I hope it's important to you. All right. Number two, stop. Hang around good people. Don't do bad things. Don't have weapons or bad things on you. Number three, don't make any sudden movements after you stop. If the police officer commands or asks you to do something, say it back to him or her. If he says, sir, take your hands out of your pockets, say, okay, I will take my hands out of my pockets slowly for you. And then remove your hands from your pockets very slowly with nothing in your hands. I don't want you to take your cell phone out, your keys, a dollar bill, or a penny out of your pockets. Take your hands out of your pockets very slowly, in whichever way the police officer is facing. Make sure he or she can see your palms. That's where weapons are, in your palms. Make sure that he or she can see your palms. Okay, so we're at stop. Hang around good people. Don't do bad things. Move slowly. Follow instructions and repeat those instructions back to the officer. As the situation progresses, the officer is going to start to ask you questions. What's your name? What's your purpose in this location? He may explain the reason that he's contacting you. He should. When I train in verbal judo, I tell my officers the first thing they say is identify themselves. Hi, my name is Corey Jones. I'm from Safety Man Consulting. The reason I'm talking to you is, and that officer should tell you We got a report of some kids in a bad area. We got a report of some kids doing this. We got a report of a suspicious person. Okay. We can't read minds as law enforcement officers. We don't have crystal balls, and we probably never met you before. We don't know if you're an upstanding, fine citizen on his or her way back from school, an after school program, a church event, a sporting event, or just your friend's house, or out for a simple jog. Unfortunately for Ahmaud Arbery, that did not work out well for him. My goal is to try to prevent that from happening to you. Stop. Hang around good people. Don't do bad things. Move slowly. Follow the officer's commands. Repeat them back to him, and then answer the questions honestly when the officer is talking to you. Remember, our goal is to answer to the people who called and complained, or to satisfy our investigative purpose to determine why this person is in this area. That is our job. We just have to make sure that we're doing it and treating people with dignity and respect. Explain to them why, introduce ourselves, tell them our agency, and tell them why we are talking to them. So as the situation progresses, you're moving slowly. You are being the adult in the situation. Let's just assume for an instant that the officer is not being professional. You have to then be professional for that. Even if the officer isn't, if he's being or she is not being professional, if he's being curt, mean, short, anything like that, still suck it up and be the professional. They probably have a body camera recording. You're allowed to record this interaction. Just don't do it obtrusively. Don't do it aggressively. Just say, officer, may I record this interaction? My parents, my teacher, my coach, my pastor, my mentor, somebody told me that it's okay, it's lawful for me to record our interaction. There are even apps out there that you can put on your phone that will automatically and silently record a reaction, an interaction for you, so then you can have that. So the situation progresses. The law enforcement officer is asking you questions. You're explaining your purpose for being there. You're identifying yourself. Everything is going hopefully okay, because if you're following these instructions, they will. Trust me. I've been off duty as much as I've been off duty. Every time I go somewhere and I see police officers and I'm in plain clothes, I walk up to them. I say, hey, my name is Corey Jones. Can I take a selfie with you? And they all say yes. They're not mean to me. They're very nice. They want to be treated with dignity and respect also. But they're getting paid. They have to do it. You're not getting paid. You should do it. And if you want to survive this encounter with your life and your dignity, suck it up. Treat the police officer just like you would your teacher, your parents, your pastor, your mentor, your coach, with dignity and respect, and you'll get out of this. If they're doing something wrong, hopefully it's recorded. If it's not, what you then do is you take your phone, you put it on selfie mode, you take a video, and you just narrate exactly what happened as soon as the encounter is over. Say exactly what time it is, where the encounter took place, exactly what the officer said, what you did, why you feel it was unprofessional, how it made you feel, and then you have that memorialized fresh, so then you can go speak to a professional, whether it be that law enforcement agency, the county, the state, the FBI, the Attorney General's office, or some other trusted adult to make a complaint to see if you have a case for an officer treating you unprofessionally. Okay? So number one, the most important thing is stop. Don't do anything quickly. Show the officer your hands when he or she asks you, if he or she does. If you have identification, if you're old enough to, whether it's a library card, a school ID, or your driver's license or state issued ID, passport, or anything like that, when the officer asks, slowly, professionally show the officer that. Okay? Finally, after we document that incident and we report it, you do have the right to make any complaint against any officer at any time if you feel that you were treated unprofessionally, unjustly, or your rights were violated. You can go to that law enforcement agency. You can go to the next law enforcement agency higher, whether it be the county police, the sheriff's department, the prosecutor's office, the district attorney's office, the internal affairs unit, the state police, the FBI even investigates justice violations. There's a myriad of places. If you don't have the faith, confidence, and trust in the local police department to make that internal affairs complaint, but you can make it. I would suggest you take a trusted adult with you when you make that complaint. Practice it, write it down, have that video with you. Make sure you have everything documented and perfect so you don't get tripped up or forget an important fact when you're making your report. My goal is to keep you safe, and my goal is to change the dynamic of the relationship between law enforcement and citizens when they have encounters that are often tense, because there's information that the subject knows that the officer doesn't, and there's information that the officer has that the subject doesn't. And it's a clash when they meet each other. So we need to have conversations where we treat each other with dignity and respect. Hi, my name is Corey. I'm from Safety Man Consulting. The reason I'm talking to you is we have a report of a couple of juveniles riding skateboards in an area where there's signs that say no skateboard riding. Can you tell me why you're doing that? And then answer, oh, we didn't see the signs, or we saw the signs, but we just wanted to do it anyway. We're sorry. We'll leave. Is there anything else you need, officer? And then follow those instructions. If you're wrong, the signs were there, you weren't supposed to be, you got to take your lumps. I can't fix that. If you're in a public area and you're allowed to do it, you're at a skate park, you're in a private school playground, and the officer's coming up talking to you, just say, I didn't know that we weren't allowed to skateboard, rollerblade, play basketball, football, or sit and chat here. If you'd like us to move along, we can. And then go talk to your parents. If the officer was wrong, they can make the complaint for you, and they can get permission from that property owner for you to go back there the next time and hang out. Officers are trained to win on the street. Please, please do not try to challenge the officer. The only question that I encourage you to ask the officer is this one question, and you have to do it the way I'm saying it, with dignity and respect. At any point during this encounter, you are legally authorized to ask this question. Excuse me, officer, I don't mean to be rude, but am I free to leave? And then let the officer answer that question. Because if you're not under arrest and there's not an investigative detention, and this is what's legally called a mere inquiry or a walk and talk, or the officer just walked up and talked to you, you are definitely allowed to leave. If the officer is investigating a suspected crime or an offense, you may not be allowed to leave. And there are three categories. There's that mere inquiry where you are allowed to leave. There's that investigative detention where they're investigating a reported or an actual crime, whether it's witnessed or reported. You may not be allowed to leave. And then there's obviously an arrest where you can't leave. To quote Chaz Palminteri, now you can't leave. Good movie, Bronx Tale. I hope you take all these suggestions in the vein that I'm trying to give them to you. I'm not trying to be demeaning. I'm trying to give you the tips and techniques to stay alive and maintain your dignity and respect when you're dealing with law enforcement officers. And this goes for any adult who has temporary authority over you or the location you're in, whether it be your teacher, your coach, your parents, the TSA, any place that you are. If someone in authority approaches you, you be the adult, win the encounter if there's something that was done wrong. Let them have their way on the street as long as they're not assaulting you or disrespecting you. Be the adult. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, officer. Of course, officer. Do it. I do it all the time, and it works out well for me. As always, stay safe and be ready.